self-care is not selfish. It's actually the biggest part of showing love that you could offer to your family, your friends, and your community.
As women, we nurture and take care of the world. And so it's just so important to make your health, your self-care numero uno. So
get around people who are going where you want to go and who are where you want to be. And that's exactly what I did. I wanted to be in real estate, so I got around people who were doing things in real estate that I wanted to do.
So you might not be able to move things around or change what happened to you, but if you can change the way that you see it and how you're reacting to it, there's a way.
You just do what you have to do. There's no excuse. This morning, I knew that if I didn't get up at 4 in the morning and clear out my emails and do everything that I needed to do.
You don't want the government to dictate or a judge to dictate how your hard-earned sacrifice and wealth gets distributed to your family and your loved ones.
Our culture is embedded in American culture. There are people who come to America and engage in American culture, which is Black culture. So Juneteenth is really about Black culture, and it's about celebrating us, celebrating the different diasporas of Black people, even the dialects.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. We are super excited to have you here on the first Thursday of October. This is the first month of the fourth quarter we are going into, and it is also Cancer Awareness Month. So we are kicking off really strong, talking about cancer, and talking about just being aware of the different things in that space. Let me backtrack. Let me say hello to everyone. My name is Athenia Rodney, CEO and founder of Juneteenth NYC, and we welcome you to our Thursday Lunch and Learns that we are here each and every Thursday, where we are talking about different things that affect us in the African American community. And to start off, before we jump into our amazing panel, we are going to talk a little bit about what is top of mind for, I'm sure, a lot of us right now. I woke up this morning and the first thing I heard on the radio, on TV, on social media, everywhere I went, I heard something about it. And that is the government shutdown. And what exactly is a government shutdown? A government shutdown occurs when Congress fails to pass, or the president fails to sign, appropriate bills needing to fund federal agencies and operations. And the whole idea around this is like, what does that mean to us, right? What does that mean in our communities? What does that mean for our families? And overall, especially in this space, what does that mean about health? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But I just want to give you an overview of what some of the things that get shut down when we have a federal shutdown like this. So small business administrations will halt new approvals for loans or loan guarantees. Housing and mortgages may be delayed in loan processing, food and safety inspections, federal employees and contractors. Just thinking all of these people are those who are getting paid right, by the government. I just want to give you a brief summary. We also have WIC, Medicaid, that may see delays if there are new applications that are going out. So basically anything in that space, especially in New York, even big projects like transit upgrades are paused. So it is something that affects us in so many different ways. And we are going to talk a little bit more about that later, but I did want to show a short video of what that is looking like in the real world. So please, let's bring that up.
Senate, where Democrats and Republicans refused to reach a government funding agreement.
It's not passed.
Vote after vote failed.
It's not passed.
With neither side willing to make concessions and both casting blame on the other.
Democrats are well aware of the damage of a government shutdown.
Our Republican colleagues did not want to help us out of this crisis.
Democrats insist Republicans extend pandemic-era tax subsidies, lowering the cost of health insurance for many Americans. Republicans say that's too expensive and want Democrats to pass the clean funding bill that already cleared the House. A lot of finger-pointing happening inside the Capitol, but not a lot of talking to each other, as negotiations are apparently not happening. Meanwhile, the public is being shut out, literally, as Capitol tours are one of the many U.S. services canceled due to the shutdown. These school children flew to Washington from Macon, Georgia, to learn how the federal government works, or in this case, isn't working today.
We had a morning tour at the Congress, and then we were going to go to the Library of Congress, Supreme Court, and Bureau of Engraving, and FBI.
All of those plans had to be canceled, with government offices closed to visitors. But it's the unseen work of the federal government that's hit hardest. 90% of the Education Department is furloughed. The Labor Department is operating with just a quarter of its staff, meaning Friday's much-anticipated jobs report will likely be delayed. Some airports are experiencing longer lines as TSA agents are working without pay. National security and immigration enforcement continues, but also with some deferred paychecks. And Trump has asked agencies to plan for potential mass layoffs.
If this thing drags on for another few days, or God forbid another few weeks, we are going to have to lay people off.
Back outside the Capitol, school principal Cammie Hamlin says her students can still learn a lesson from this trip to Washington.
What we always tell the kids, there's three sides: their side, our side, whatever side, and then there's our side somewhere in the middle.
It's finding that middle that Congress is refusing to do, with neither side willing to compromise to end the government shutdown. Heidi Jo Castro, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Don't miss out. Get the full.
All right. So thank you for watching that part. I hope that gave you a little bit of, we try to bring in some fun or not so fun parts, but just the understanding for you and others, sometimes even myself, where I'm like, what exactly is this? How does it affect me? How does this relate to me? So making sure that we have that and we're utilizing our platform for that opportunity as well. So now I want to bring up our guest. We have a panel today that we will be engaging in, and I'm really excited about our panel for today. Today's topic is an empowering session. It blends so many different things, from courage, talking about healing, talking about innovation. Like behind the scenes, we were talking. I told everyone, I said, make sure you have your water and your tissues, because this is one of those sessions today that will definitely bring a tear to your eye. It is something that has hit home to almost all of us. My grandmother passed to breast cancer, and I didn't even know she had it. She had it for over 15 years. She had a double mastectomy, and she never told a soul. Went to her grave almost with that information. So there is a lot of shame that goes into spaces with people. And so this is a conversation that is much needed to be had. And I am thankful for everyone who is joining us on today. So I'm going to bring up and introduce our moderator for today, someone who I've known for a little while. and who has encouraged me to become a donor. I never thought in my life that I would put, when I went to go get my ID that updated, that I would say yes to being a donor, and I did. And everything in my body, like every time I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really did this. So it was something that was a challenge for me to experience, but it was definitely in part to my conversations and to the knowledge and information that I've learned in sessions with this individual who I am about to bring up. So Shani is with Live On New York. She has a vast background. I'm gonna try to see. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Let me see. But she is MBA PMP, a dedicated community and public affairs liaison for Live On New York. I've seen her in so many spaces, so I know that she is out there doing the work. Even when she was pregnant, she was out there doing the work, serving the heart of Brooklyn. Since joining Live On New York in 2021, Shani has quickly become a trusted and familiar voice. And absolutely, like I said, I am not just going to put something on my ID if I did not trust the words that were coming from her and her team. Shani has quickly also done plenty of connecting of individuals. She is a great connector, and you naturally would be. She is all about family. And that's what I appreciate so much about her. She's an organizer. She has amazing, vital information. She loves to share resources about organ and what we'll be talking about today, tissue donation, which is something I am ready to listen in real close, because it's not something that I have been well versed in. But I know that I'm going to learn some stuff today. So what else? I think that's all we're going to talk about for now, because we got a lot of people to introduce. So we're going to bring Shani to the stage. Welcome, Shani. How you doing, my love?
I'm doing really well, Audain. Thank you so much. And yes, we have so many amazing panelists to share information with you. Audain has gushed over me enough. So I'm not going to say anything else about myself, but thank you for giving Live On New York this opportunity to support tissue donation and organ donation. And October 15th is Bra Day. It is Breast Reconstruction Awareness Day. And we're going to be bringing awareness to you today about breast cancer and breast reconstruction surgery. And
now, you Bra Day. You said Bra Day? So does that mean you don't have to wear a bra on that day?
There is a day where you don't have to wear a bra. That's a separate day.
Oh, okay.
Bra Day, which is Breast Reconstruction Awareness Day. That's October 15th. So we are bringing awareness to that and bringing support to those women who have had mastectomies and are going through that journey, are thrivers and survivors of breast cancer. We have some special guests, but the first one that I want to introduce is our Congresswoman of the 9th Congressional District, my soror, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, is here to give us a welcome and to share some information about the amazing work that she is doing in the space of women's health, and also to bring us some words on the shutdown. So I'd like to bring up Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's my honor to be with you. And let me just say to everyone that it's a wonderful day, and I'm so happy to be with you. Before I begin, I'd just like to thank Live On New York and the more than 300 dedicated advocates, clinicians, educators, and social workers it comprises, not only for providing me with the opportunity to join you today, but knowing the necessary work that you're doing to educate, uplift, inform our communities. And today's necessary panel is just a demonstration of your work, your commitment, your dedication, and your love. But for this organization's fearless activism, action, and leadership on behalf of our communities, you are so dear to our hearts. I'd also like to extend my warm welcome to the experts and survivors who have taken time out of their day to lend their stories and knowledge to this afternoon's discussion. Let me properly introduce myself. I'm Congresswoman Yvette D. Clarke. I chair the Congressional Black Caucus for the 119th session of Congress, and I'm a proud representative of New York's 9th Congressional District, located in Central and Southwest Brooklyn. It's an honor to speak with you today. As we all know too well, breast cancer is among the most common, most devastating cancers in our nation. One that far too many Americans have had to face. When hundreds of thousands of American women are diagnosed with breast cancer annually, just think about that number, and tens of thousands of American women lose their lives to this terrible disease each year. Inaction is simply intolerable. I believe, as I am certain you do, too, that our fight must continue until no one ever suffers from this horrible illness again. And that is exactly what I am prepared to do. In my own work in Congress, as chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and as co-chair of the Congressional Caucus on Black Women and Girls, I have dedicated years of my career to championing legislation intended to better the lives and care of those who are afflicted by breast cancer. There are just too many people who are close to us that we know all too well have struggled with this disease. I, in my own personal life, have had 2 staff members, one who's a survivor and unfortunately one who succumbed to breast cancer. In the 119th Congress alone, I signed on to numerous bills that address the breast cancer crisis from a variety of angles, but early detection, treatment, affordability, or even as simple as spreading awareness. If a piece of legislation has a solution that comes across my desk that attacks this disease head on, you better believe that I'm going to attach my name to it. For instance, I recently signed on to the Screens for Cancer Act, which not only provides greater flexibility to the National Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program grantees, but also increases funding for those vital safety net programs so it may reach more people and save more lives. I'm also proud to co-sponsor the Medicaid Breast Cancer Access to Treatment Act, which would require that state Medicaid programs throughout the nation cover breast cancer and cervical cancer treatment services for low-income patients without cost sharing. I've even co-sponsored a Republican colleague's Metastatic Breast Cancer Access to Care Act, which expedites payment of Social Security disability insurance benefits and eligibility for Medicare coverage for those with metastatic breast cancer, as well as the Bipartisan Access to Breast Cancer Diagnosis Act to make breast cancer diagnostic tests more affordable and accessible by eliminating copays and other out-of-pocket expenses for these tests. So let me be clear when I say that petty partisan politics have no place in our quest for a cure. Anyone who says otherwise couldn't care less about actually finding one. Through measures such as these, we, with the power to affect change, are turning towards solutions for the people. But our efforts cannot and will not end there. There's a need in this nation for affordable, accessible healthcare for anyone and everyone. Our country can count just about 50 million people who are either uninsured or underinsured. Now, what happens if a fraction of them are faced with an unexpected breast cancer diagnosis? As if having a life-threatening disease were not enough of a hardship, these people would have to contend with financial ruin and excruciating red tape just to get the care that they deserve. Our nation needs healthcare reform, period. And we have a path forward. We need only to seize it. Whenever I lack the strength to persevere in my own life, I've often found it in the hearts of tireless, stalwart individuals such as yourselves. The great journalist John Diamond once said, "Cancer is a world, and it's a word, not a sentence." The fearless women before me are living proof of that fact. They're living proof that better tomorrows are indeed possible, and they are waiting just beyond the horizon. Please note that as long as the battle against breast cancer continues, I will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with you to win the war. Together, our work will go on, and God willing, one day we will uncover the cure. So let me just say this. We are, again, hosting an outstanding panel for everyone today. And I want to ask, Live New York, Live on New York, to continue in the efforts that you're making to shed light. We, in the opening segment to your program today, you talked about the shutdown. And I just want all of your viewers, your panelists, and everyone in this ecosystem to know the battle that we're waging right now is the battle for life. And when we think about what is happening with healthcare in our nation, we don't stand a chance to even live out the promises of our lives if we don't have healthcare insurance. This is a system that has been cultivated, built over time, with the uninsured suffering the brunt of illness, disease, and disaster. And I want to make sure that we know that power is in our hands. If we don't resist this onslaught of inhumanity that is gripping our nation, our efforts will be in vain. But we have the power to make a difference. And I hope that each and every one of you will use your power, use your clout, as the young people say, so that eyes are open to exactly what is taking place in our nation right now. Let me again just thank you all so very much for hosting this outstanding panel and this discussion, and let you all know that out of sight is not out of mind. As you can tell by the litany of legislation that I've gone over, you are front of mind as we battle in Washington, D.C. Thank you. And as we say in D.C., I yield back the balance of my time.
Well, thank you so much, Member Clark. It was a pleasure having you on our platform, the Juneteenth NYC, and we're glad to be able to host Live on New York here. So thank you for sharing just some of the challenges and things that are going on in our community that are affecting us, and how you and your seat are able to support that. So thank you very much. All right. So
I am sorry, I am not hearing you at all.
Oh, no. It's okay. Technology, when it works great. And I feel like when it doesn't, it's like the worst. But I was saying thank you.
Thank you very much, and have a wonderful panel.
Thank you. All right, Shani. There we go.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for joining us and sharing your remarks, and all of the amazing work that you're doing. Please keep up the good work. We support you. In the interest of time, I want to keep us moving. I want to introduce our moderator for today, Blaine Jeffries. She is the Associate Director of Communications, Marketing and Communications, Health Disparities for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. She has over 15 years of experience in strategic communications. She is amazing. She has a direct connection to organ donation that I believe she may share, but I'm turning it over. Blaine, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon to everyone. I am so excited to be here with you and have this conversation. But before we begin, I just have to give a special thank you to Shani and to Athenia for hosting this panel discussion and bringing us all together. So once again, my name is Blaine Jeffries, Associate Director of Marketing and Communications for Health Disparities here at the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. We have a lot to talk about in the time that we have. We are going to hear from my colleague, Dr. Priya Malhotra, who will give an overview on some of the breast cancer disparities that exist within the Black community. We will then go into a talk with Vina Morris, founder of AfroPink and a 2-time breast cancer thriver, who will share her journey with us. Dr. Vyas will join us straight from surgery. Thank you so much. He is going to give a little bit of a deeper dive into breast reconstructive surgery. And we have Luba Ashraf from the Live On organization who will speak about organ donation for breast tissue. Before we get into it, I have to talk about my organization, the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. We are the largest private funder of breast cancer research and metastatic research worldwide and are the highest rated breast cancer research organization in the country. This year alone, we are funding more than 260 researchers in 16 countries on 6 continents, which amounts to nearly $75 million that we will be giving this year alone for breast cancer research. James, who is our tech in the back, if you could just play this really quick PSA so that you all can see a little bit more about who we are and what we do.
Face breast cancer. Only research will move us closer to a cure, faster. At the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, our mission is simple: to prevent and cure breast cancer by fueling the world's most promising research. As the world's largest private funder of breast cancer research, we are advancing the breakthroughs that save lives, unlocking the treatments that change futures, giving those diagnosed more time to not just survive, but thrive. BCRF has helped drive a 44% drop in breast cancer deaths over the last 30 years, but there is still critical work to do. 1 in 8 is more than a statistic. Each one is a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and we can change their future together. This is the moment. This is the mission. Join us until 1 in 8 is none in 8.
Thank you so much. Joining me now is my colleague, Dr. Priya Malhotra, who is a BCRF scientist on our research team. She is the Director of Research Impact here at BCRF and has earned her PhD in biochemistry.
Hi, Blaine.
Hi, Dr. Malhotra. So we know that we've made significant progress against breast cancer. Case in point, deaths from the disease have declined by a dramatic 44% over the last 30 years. But this incredible progress has not been experienced equitably. Across the US, women of different races and ethnicities experience breast cancer very differently, but no group experiences this as shockingly and starkly as Black women. Dr. Malhotra, can you talk a little bit about what disparities are and how they specifically affect the Black community in the space of breast cancer?
Sure. So, broad definition of disparities. There are differences or inequities that exist between groups of people, often in ways that are unjust or unfair. In terms of health and healthcare disparities can result in gaps. That's gaps in access, treatment, as well as outcomes. For instance, for Black women, they're almost 40% more likely to die from their breast cancer than white women. They're diagnosed at later stages. So in fact, twice as many Black women are diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer or stage 4 breast cancer compared to white women. Black women are also diagnosed at younger ages and with more aggressive breast cancers. So all of these contribute to disparities. And if we want to talk broadly about disparities, the main factors there are social drivers of health that contribute to disparities. And those are factors outside of your body that affect what's happening to your body. They can be neighborhood level factors, social, economic, and myriad of other elements fall under social determinants, social drivers of health. Other contributors are, of course, your genetics. So that's your genetic makeup, which is a whole other realm of contributors.
At BCRF, one of our goals is to reduce breast cancer disparities. Can you speak a little bit about what we're specifically doing here to address this issue?
So BCRF broadly, I would say 4 strokes address disparities. First would be understanding genetics and tumor biology. BCRF supported researchers have identified inherited gene mutations that increase a woman's risk of aggressive breast cancers like triple negative breast cancer. Triple negative breast cancer is one of our focuses. In fact, our investigators pioneered epidemiological studies that show that Black women have higher rates of mutations in BRCA1 and 2, as well as other genes linked to breast cancer. Other genes such as BARD1, RAD51C, and D are uncommon, but they're more frequently seen in Black women with breast cancer. And so studies are in progress to address those and other genes that contribute to breast cancer. Also in triple negative, it's a very aggressive breast cancer and frequently seen in younger women, including Black, Hispanic, and Native American women. Triple negative is aggressive, it lacks treatment options, and so it's harder to manage. That's why BCRF is investing about a quarter of our portfolio in triple negative breast cancer research. So our investigators have found that triple negative is not just one disease, it's a group of disease. And if we can understand the different forms, then we can uncover new targets for treatment. So that's a good part of what we're looking at. And our investigators have been integral to bringing the first PARP inhibitors, immunotherapies, and antibody drug conjugates to TNBC care. So we've actually expanded the treatment options beyond chemotherapy. The next category would be in clinical trials. Now, clinical trials are essential to bringing foundational laboratory studies to the clinic to help patients. We learn a lot from clinical trials, from the efficacy of a treatment to what is the best schedule, dosing of a treatment, and we can even learn a lot about issues of survivorship from clinical trials. So without diversity in clinical trial population, results we don't know if they're going to apply to all populations equally. And the low number of people of color that are enrolled in clinical trials limits how much pertinent data can be collected for them. So, for example, Black women make up less than 10% of the clinical trial participants. However, when they are offered the opportunity to participate, over 90% of them will actually participate. So what does that mean? That means that we have to get the word out. We have to focus on increasing participation, increasing it by increasing awareness for providers as well as potential participants. We have to increase access to clinical trials. And BCRF is addressing those issues, and we're also supporting the Translational Breast Cancer Research Consortium, which is a clinical trial network made up of 18 sites across the nation. And they make a concerted effort to increase trial participation for people of color. So that is another focus for BCRF. And finally, the fourth category is our Health Equity Initiative. Now, this is a project where we're taking a deep dive into understanding how social drivers of health and the biology in Black women intersect to impact their breast cancer outcomes. The Health Equity Initiative is supported by the Estee Lauder Company's charitable foundation. It's a project that is over 5 years and $15 million. And basically, we're in our second year. We've collated all kinds of data on social drivers of health with biology elements in over 5,000 Black women. Now, that's the largest of its kind database. And now we're working to drill down on how these factors work together. They interact to affect breast cancer outcomes in Black women.
So just to sum up and recap what you said, there are 4 things that we at BCRF are focused on broadly when it comes to disparities. We have understanding genetic and tumor biology. Second, improving treatment for TNBC. As you mentioned, it's an aggressive form of cancer that's very hard to treat. Third is increasing participation of women of color in clinical trials. And third, it's the intersection of the social determinants of health, which actually the Congresswoman briefly spoke about. When we say social determinants, social drivers, it's your access to healthcare, access to quality healthcare, the environment around you, all the factors that play a role mixed with your biological factors as well and how they intersect. So those are the 4 areas that BCRF is broadly looking at. Thank you so much, Dr. Malhotra. I'm not sure if James is able to put up the QR code that we have, but just in case he's not able to, you can find out. There it is. Thank you, James. And just in case you're not able to scan it, as you can see, you can visit us at bcrf.org. We have an entire section dedicated to About Cancer that talks more about some of the disparities that Dr. Malhotra mentioned, and we have it broken down into different ethnic groups so that you can take a deeper dive if you like. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Malhotra.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You all have heard a little bit about breast cancer in the Black community and how it affects women and some of the disparities that play a role. We are now going to hear from Vina Morris. She is the founder of AfroPink, a nonprofit organization dedicated to bringing awareness of breast cancer into communities of color. She is also a 2-time breast cancer thriver. Vina, are you here? Hi, Vina.
Hi, Blaine. How are you? Wonderful.
Good. So really quickly, Vina, you were diagnosed and treated with 2 lumpectomies and radiation for breast cancer in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 months after completing radiation, you went to have a mammogram to check on your progress, and it was discovered that the cancer had formed in the same area that was just cleared. Is that all? That's all correct?
That is all correct.
Can you briefly, and I'm so sorry that we have to be brief, but can you briefly share your cancer journey and the reconstructive surgery that took place after it?
Yeah, so hi everyone, Vina Morris. So as Blaine said, this was 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it's funny because I didn't believe I can get breast cancer. I didn't know about breast cancer. So when I was diagnosed, I was extremely blindsided. The first diagnosis came after a benign biopsy. And when I went to get the lumpectomy, I didn't hear I had the lumpectomy maybe 4 weeks later. And as I awaited the results, I noticed something. I did not hear back from any of my doctors regarding the results. It wasn't in my chart. It wasn't anywhere I can find it. And then from there, I called the doctors and took it upon myself to actually understand what the results were. And to my surprise, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 0, DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ, ER/PR positive, hormone, estrogen positive, progesterone positive breast cancer, and high and intermediate grades. So that led to the part of the story that Blaine just explained, where I did radiation. I had to do another lumpectomy and then also take tamoxifen, which is a hormone blocker. So it stops your body from producing estrogen and progesterone so that it can stop feeding my cancer in layman's terms. And so from there, I did the radiation. I had to do 15 rounds of radiation. And from there, I went to have my first diagnostic mammogram post all of that. And I found out in March of 2020 that that the cancer had returned. So the choices for me were not very many. I didn't have many choices because you can't have radiation twice in the same place. And the other part of that was I had to have a mastectomy. And so they offered to give me a single mastectomy out for a double. And from there, that's when my journey with breast reconstruction started. So at the time of my breast reconstruction, it was overwhelming. I mean, I was devastated that I had to have a double mastectomy. But my choices were, we can try rebuilding your breast with your own body fat, or we can do implants. But unfortunately, I didn't have enough body fat to get the size of breast that I wanted, which I wanted something to be something similar to what I was before the cancer. And so I say that, and I think it's important to highlight this because I didn't know about organizations like Live On. I didn't know Live On New York. I didn't know that you can get tissue donated. I didn't know that you can get nerves donated. So had I known that information, I would have made a different choice. So that is where I feel that it is important for us to have the right information, as much information as possible, so that we can make informed decisions about our process as we go through the journey.
Thank you so much, Vina. And you are not the only one. I did not know anything about breast tissue donation until this discussion came up. So we're going to hear a little bit more from you shortly, because we are going to go into Luba Asherov. Luba is the Vice President of Tissue Bank Services for Live On. She oversees the organization's donor center and tissue recovery operations. Hi, Luba, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. And, it's great to hear all of these stories. And we're behind the scenes, so it's really great to be in company where we can speak to people about tissue donation and try and help people on the side of understanding what tissues are available and what options are available through tissue donation. So just quickly, a lot of people speak about organ donation. Everybody's aware that you can donate kidneys, heart, liver, but a lot of people don't understand that upon your death, there are also other options that may not be available to donate organs. You can donate tissue. So just as a brief explanation, upon your death, then somebody has to say yes to donation. Either you register as a prospective organ and tissue donor through your license, through your DMV, or upon your death, we would ask your family if they would like to consent and authorize donation. And then when that happens, we would do a medical screening, ensure that the tissue that we're recovering is not coming from a potential donor, that they themselves may have certain diseases. So we want to ensure that the process of procuring these tissues are coming from somebody who can then help improve and save lives. So for the instances of the gift that can be given to assist breast cancer survivors and assist in the reconstructive and in the reconstruction after a mastectomy, somebody can donate the gift of skin. And with that skin, it helps facilitate the reconstructive process. The skin can also help, in addition to breast cancer survivors, it can also help people who suffer from burns and help save their lives. There are also gifts of cornea donation that can help people see again, bone donation that can help people walk again. So there are so many things that tissue can help with. And for breast cancer survivors, just the understanding that there can be something that can help bring them back to the life that they remember, or even the body that is familiar to them through tissue donation. With the gift of skin, it can help in the reconstruction of that breast tissue. So it's very, very important for people to understand, right? That you have to know what your options are. And some people may not be candidates, but it's always good to know that you have that option of having that tissue. A lot of times people are afraid to say, well, I don't want somebody's tissue. How do I know that it's safe? How do I know that it's good for me? And one of the things that is important to know is this tissue, after it's procured, it's extensively tested for any communicable diseases, infectious diseases. It's cleared by the FDA. So you know that the transplant and the surgical part of using this tissue is safe for the patient. And because it's a tissue that is very similar to your natural tissue, it also helps facilitate when you're going through healing. It helps in the healing process as well. So a lot of times people just don't know that there are those options. Our call to action is we want to make sure that the public is educated about tissue donation and donation in general. So the only way that we can get this tissue is after somebody dies. So register to be a organ tissue donor. Let your family know that those are your wishes. And this way we can help improve and save lives of people in our community.
Thank you so much, Luba. And I briefly shared before we came on here, I had a loved one that passed away a little less than a year ago, and we were forced to make that hard decision that you just mentioned, which is what do we do with his organs? And I initially thought, liver, lungs, like hard organs. And it wasn't until the Live On organization came and spoke to us and explained that there's also, as you mentioned, skin donation, cornea, bones, veins, all of these life-saving organs one person's life can then go on to save as many as 7 people or more. So I am very intimately in the know of what you all do, and I thank you for the work that Live On does. So thank you so much, Luba. We are going to come back to you shortly for the Q&A portion. We are now going to bring on Dr. Krishna Vyas. He is a plastic surgeon who specializes in reconstructive and aesthetic surgery in New York City. He also specializes in breast and body aesthetics, including breast reductions, augmentations, lifts, gender-affirming chest masculinization and feminization, top surgery, and body contouring. Dr. Vyas is recognized as an expert in the breast and nipple sensory nerve preservation and restoration. Hi, Dr. Vyas. Just hit the unmute button.
Hey, can you hear me now?
How are you? I know you are fresh from a surgery, so everything is like at the forefront of your mind right now.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you for being here. So we just heard from Luba Asheroff about tissue donation. We heard from Vina Morris about breast reconstructive surgery. Can you talk a little bit about what does this reconstructive surgery entail and how is breast tissue tied into that when it needs to be donated to a patient?
Yes. Are you able to see my screen here?
I see you.
Oh, I have a PowerPoint here. Perfect. Yeah, so thanks so much for the invitation. I'm a plastic surgeon in New York City. And Breast Cancer Awareness Month is obviously one of my favorite months of the year. Just to connect with people, participate in education. And so, let's see, next slide here. Yeah, so, brave and powerful was kind of the topic and theme of the conversation. And so those words really capture the spirit of everyone who is undergoing breast cancer treatment or reconstruction. And so today I'm just really going to talk about breast cancer reconstruction, the role of tissue donation, and then how survivors can thrive. So this is a little bit about my training, but my early clinical interests were on breast cancer safety and the role of fat transfer, whether it's your own tissue or tissue that's kind of processed and sterilized, and the role in breast cancer reconstruction. So I did my MD, PhD in Kentucky, and then a master's in immunology, followed by plastic surgery residency, and then aesthetic and reconstructive breast surgery fellowship. So during that training, I kind of learned more about advanced breast reconstruction techniques. So we'll talk about those a little bit here. So what we're going to focus on, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, really it's the whole spectrum: prevention, detection, empowerment, survivorship, equity and support systems. But kind of the nature of this conversation will be mostly the reconstruction and the recovery and what options women have after mastectomy in terms of healing, improved quality of life, and then body image. So the journey, after cancer, really we have a deep conversation with the breast surgeon to see what's oncologically safe. First, safety is always first in terms of what the options are. Sometimes those decisions are made before surgery, sometimes they're made intraoperatively during the surgery, but in general, patients have choices of whether they want to use implants or their own tissue, and whether surgery will be done at the same time or immediate or in a delayed fashion, like later on in terms of reconstruction. So then during a mastectomy, basically there's an empty space and an expander or kind of an inflatable balloon is placed in replacement of the breast tissue. And that's either above your pectoralis muscle or your chest muscle or below it. And in order to help secure that expander or implant, tissue that's donated from someone else is commonly used. It's called acellular dermal matrix. And so that's one role of tissue donation in breast reconstruction, is using that wrap to kind of secure the placement of the expander or the implant so it's not just kind of free floating within the chest. Now, typically that expander is then removed and replaced with either your own tissue or an implant later on in a two-stage approach. But sometimes you can just go direct to implant. And, you know, in those cases, because the implant's smooth and round, you still need to secure it with some sort of matrix around that area. So here's an example. You know, you can use your belly tissue, you can use the back tissue if you choose to use your own. That's another common breast reconstruction option. Again, so with the expander to the implant, you can use that tissue matrix, which was derived from a donor. Really, tissue donation allows us these regenerative tools in order to help women achieve a natural shape and feel after surgery. They're also off-the-shelf, ready-to-go products like fat that you can see on the bottom right. So you can either do liposuction, harvest fat from your own body, or sometimes if just you want to cover up and conceal the upper pole of the implant to make it look more natural, you can borrow fat from the shelf and inject that into the chest as well. And then we'll talk a little bit about sensory preservation and restoration as well in the next few slides. So tissue donation is obviously important because it expands the possibilities for breast reconstruction. It helps to improve quality of life and achieve that natural shape, confidence, and also sensation. And then, you know, one donor can help multiple patients. So I think that that's really something important to remember. So focusing kind of on the right side, obviously a major problem in terms of breast cancer diagnosis, a certain subset who undergo reconstruction. But after breast cancer surgery, about 80% of women will suffer from pain, numbness, or both. So, you know, a lot of people say that the lack of sensation or pain or sensory disturbances like phantom feeling is kind of like the major problem that they have with the breast after a mastectomy, and it has a significant impact on their quality of life and their recovery and their self-confidence, just feeling a shirt on the skin, the wind touching your chest, even something simple like pain, because you do want to know if you have a bug bite or a hot iron on your chest. Like, those are protective mechanisms. So it's not only you know, erogenous sensation that we're trying to potentially achieve, but also like protective sensation. And so during a mastectomy, of course, nerves are cut, and that can result in numbness. And then the next slide will kind of show, so, you know, resensation is basically these donor nerves are able to connect the cut nerve during the mastectomy that had the breast tissue around it to the new nipple areola position that hopefully allows for improved sensory restoration, both protective, you know, pain, temperature, vibration, all of those sorts of things. So, you know, the goal is to obviously reduce complications, make sure that people are able to live their lives to the fullest, and donated tissue is really an important part of expanding the breast reconstruction options, because without those, some of these reconstructive options wouldn't really be possible. And so, survivorship is more than just surviving. It's about thriving and allowing people to reclaim their lives and their sense of self. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and happy to take any questions in the Q&A as well.
Thank you so much for all that helpful information. That's a lot to take in, and I'm wondering if we can even get those slides sent to some of the people that are watching, because that's just amazing information that you just put up there. It is time for Q&A, so I'm going to have you stay on and have all of our other panelists join us. And I'm just going to check and see if there's any questions from the audience while everyone gets brought back on. All right, we're all here. So I see one question in the chat, and Shani, I'm gonna kind of throw this to you as well in case you see any others, but I'm just gonna read this first one that I see. And the question is, what early warning sign should people never ignore? I'm guessing when it comes to breast cancer and what they should be looking for.
I'm actually going to volley that to Dr. Vyas. For breast cancer awareness, Luba definitely is here to tackle the tissue donation question.
Yeah, so really just being aware of your chest changes. So changes, new lumps, new bumps in the breast or under the armpit. Sometimes it can be painless, it can be hard or soft. So any new mass, a change in breast size or shape, skin changes like dimpling of the skin or the nipple, redness, thickening of the skin. Anytime that there's potentially discharge from the nipple that's bloody or clear fluid, pain in that area that's new, persistent pain or discomfort, swollen lymph nodes. A lot of these, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have cancer, but they can be potentially early warning signs that definitely you have to get looked at. It could be a cyst, it could be an infection, but you can't rule out, something more concerning. So the most important thing is, number one, seeing a qualified provider for sure and a specialist. And then also, screening has made such a big dramatic impact in terms of breast cancer survival, really around the world. But early mammograms or, following the guidelines will definitely help with improved outcomes as well. So you definitely have to get things checked out if there's, a concern.
And I also just want to say our website, bcrf.org, has a lot of information related to that question that you asked about what are the warning signs that people should not ignore. So definitely look us up there as well. This question is going to be for Luba. How can someone donate breast tissue? Did you hear me, Luba?
She's muted.
Okay, while she...
Yes, I'm sorry, I was muted there. Yes, so the only way that you can be a tissue donor is upon your... me?
Luba, you broke up a little bit. But to clarify what she is saying is to be a tissue donor, it's through
hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you now.
Unfortunately, yeah, to be a donor, you have to, we only do tissue donation after somebody has died. You can either make your wishes known through a donor registry, or your family has to agree to donation, and then we would proceed with the recovery. So when you're still living, then there is no opportunity to be a donor, but upon your death.
This next question, is there anything to worry about if someone has dense breast? I am going to kick that over to either Dr. Vyas.
Screening mammograms will remain the most effective tool for reducing breast cancer, mortality, and also detection is really important. So Density, the question is kind of like, density is almost how heavy it is per surface area of tissue. So within a certain area, there may be more breast tissue. So the breast is, a relatively simple anatomic structure in terms of the types of tissue, but it's complex in terms of histology. And so there's skin obviously on the breast, and then there's a fatty layer, and then there's breast tissue that can sometimes be heavy. And so in some individuals, especially younger women, the tissue can be very dense or kind of heavy or almost firm. And as you get older, typically it becomes a little softer and fattier in terms of the tissue. So it's important to just get the screening mammograms for all breasts, but for dense breast specifically, sometimes it's a little harder to see certain areas, and that may lead potentially to like additional screening types of imaging. So it's something that's just an anatomic variation among different individuals.
We have another question. Does recovery differ between donated tissue or other reconstructive surgeries?
Recovery differ between donated tissue. So basically, I would say there's no standard surgery per se for each individual. Everyone's very individualized, but the most common type of like mastectomy treatment, one option is do nothing, and some people say I don't want a reconstruction. Two is you could do some sort of nerve sensory preservation at the time of surgery. That does not increase your recovery time. The expander is kind of that placeholder after a mastectomy or an implant. So if you did the expander, the implant, then you do have that tissue wrap around it. It doesn't increase your recovery time by using those tissue products. There are some changes in some outcomes. For example, there might be a slightly higher fluid collection risk afterward, but it depends on the studies you're looking at and the types of products and things like that. But overall, it doesn't change like the quote recovery time. Typically, for most breast surgeons and plastic surgeons, we have about a month of activity restrictions of kind of like no heavy lifting, pushing, pulling, elevated heart rate, elevated blood pressure, nothing strenuous, obviously no trauma like sports or anything that can like kind of disrupt the reconstruction or cause what we worry about mostly is a bleed, like a hematoma or a collection of blood under the skin that can then delay your recovery. So the donated tissue in itself does not increase the recovery time.
We are almost at time. So before we get off, I just want to kick it over to Vina real quick. As I mentioned earlier, she is the founder of AfroPink, which is a nonprofit for women with breast cancer. This is a big month for you as well because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You have an event coming up. So can you tell us a little bit more about AfroPink and some of the exciting things that you have happening this month?
Absolutely. So AfroPink is focused on meeting you where you are, wherever you are in the community. So we have one of our biggest events. It's the 5th year doing it. It is on June. It is on October 11th, next Saturday in Harlem at the Adam Clayton Powell State Building Plaza, where we're going to bring breast scans. We're going to have doctors and experts, researchers help us deliver all of the messaging you need to understand breast cancer risk, things that you can do as a survivor, as current patients, and we hope to see you there. And we're going to have fun too. So come to have fun with your families, and we hope to see you there. It's going to start at 11 o'clock and it's going to end around 4:30. So hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Vina, because we love a party with a purpose. So thank you.
Live on New York. We'll be there supporting you.
Yay.
On behalf of Live on New York, thank you so much for everyone on the panel who made time. I know we have a few more questions that are coming in. We will take your questions. If you can drop an email or we will reach back out to you and get your questions answered. We know this is important information. We had a very short amount of time to share it all, but we will continue to work together to bring this information to more forums. We'll be out at Vina's event on October 11th, so please join us. If you want any information about organ and tissue donation, please check out our website at liveonnewyork.org. You can check our events page. We are all over our service area doing events, educating, and supporting the community. But thank you, everyone. If anyone has any quick last remarks. Athenia, are you? Oh, there you are.
Yes. Everyone, and thank you. This was really great. I was just messaging Shani. I was like, this needed to be separate segments. So we definitely need to see about getting you all to come back. And also, I'm a big component about let's not just focus on things just in that month. While October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, this affects us, families, individuals, 365 days a year. So this is a conversation that we can have at any time. So I know that this particular month is pretty busy. So once things die down a little bit, I would love to be able to bring you all back individually to be able to have a fuller, extensive conversation so that we can get some of these conversations, because questions are starting to roll in, but with the essence of time, I do know that we do need to run. But I wanted to thank you all for your contributions. It was amazing, and I learned a lot. I took 2 pages of notes in this time already, and I have a lot of questions that I would love to get answers as well. So I know the community would too. So thank you again, Live on New York, Shani and Luca. Thank you so much for your continued partnership throughout the years, and we look forward to future as well. All right, so I'm going to close this out. I'm going to put you all backstage and just share. Thank you again. Thank you all for staying on a little bit extra. It's 6 minutes past the hour, so I know, but we still have over 67 people that are on the live. So I do not take any of that without any respects of your time. Thank you for those who joined us on Instagram as well, and then we're sharing their questions. I was trying to bring all of them in as best as possible. But again, this is a topic that does affect all of us in different ways and continues to affect us. I know I have a history of it in my family, so we're always a little nervous when I go to get my mammograms done annually. And when I get that message or that email or that letter sent in the mail of my results, I'm always like, all right, Lord, what is this gonna, how is this gonna change my world? So we know that this is, it does change lives, and we are thankful for the opportunity to learn more about it. So thank you all. I'm going to close out here. Continue to follow us at Juneteenth NYC to learn more about all of the projects that we are a part of and that we are supporting. We have an event tomorrow with our community partner over at Bard High School on Vermont Street in Pickens. So we do hope that you join us and you can learn some information as well. And closing, be blessed, be loving, and do things in community. That's the only way for us to move forward. Have a great one. Bye.
So with the brand new album, and I'm talking hits.
Juneteenth Festival was a full celebration of culture alive. Donate today. Please like, share, and comment. Register now at juneteenth.ny.com. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and comment. Register now at juneteenth.ny.com. Thanks for watching.